had the time to talk about OP-06 in general as like the overall metagame, but it's time to talk about the leaders that made an impact in OP-06. Especially right now with the release of ST13, things are changing by the week. So we're gonna do a little recap from the start of the season all the way until now, which is currently around like a month plus in with the release of ST13 as well. We're going to talk about what leaders actually made waves and were popular in different amounts of time, because all of the leaders, or almost all of the leaders in OP-06 actually had some time in the spotlight, and it's really great. It means like out of like 6 of those leaders, 4 of them are actually super viable in this current metagame, and with the introduction of ST13 we got more leaders to play with. So we're going to talk about the OP-06 metagame, the current state of it, and have a little bit of understanding about these particular leaders. Without further ado, let's just jump into the first one, which is green yellow Yamato. Okay, just for the ease of sharing like the effects in English, I actually recreated these decks in OP-TCG Sim just so we can talk about the leader and also the cards that actually go into the deck itself. I won't do like full in-depth discussions about the decks. I'm saving them for other videos where I go into each leader individually, so expect that in the next couple of days or so, or week, I don't know, I'll get to it. But first, it's green yellow Yamato. So this is the breakout leader of OP-06. It's the most popular leader during the first week, winning a shit ton of events in Japan and Singapore, as well as being the first OP-06 leader to actually win a Japan championship event. This was for Tokyo CS, if I'm not wrong. And let's just briefly talk about green yellow Yamato. This amazing leader has double attack built in, you know, double attacking, mace wielding, waifu being, green yellowing. It's Yamato. So not only does it have double attack, which already makes it super powerful. Even though you start at 4 life, you have 5,000 power. Having double attack means you are getting an insane amount of pressure onto your opponent from the moment you can attack. So usually what Yamato players like to do is on the turn, even if they're going first or second, you just put all of your dons, like 3 dons or 4 dons, onto this Yamato leader, swing in for double attack. If your opponent doesn't have a blocker or counters to counter out of the attack, boom, 2 of their life gone. And if you're already starting at 4 life, that's gonna be quite tough. And if you're starting 5 life down to 3, it's not so bad. But 4 down to 2, it's a little bit painful. And not only that, Yamato has a secondary ability of activate main once per turn if your opponent has 3 or less life, which is very easy to get with double attack on the leader. You can attach up to 2 rested dons to one of your characters. Now this really comes in handy in the late game when you're pushing for game, and usually how they push for game is with a little bit of a help from good old Hody Jones. Now Hody Jones is a 7 cost 8,000 power character with rush, so immediately it can attack on the turn and play. But the thing that makes it really great is that it has an on play ability to rest a total of 2 of your opponent's characters and or don, then put the top of your life cards into your hand. Now it doesn't specify cost, it doesn't specify type, it just says rest up to a total of 2 of your opponent characters and not on. So blockers, no one's scared of them. You can just play down Hody Jones, rest whatever blockers your opponent has on the field. It's usually a Borsellino, it's usually like a Sabo or any other small blockers, and your opponent who have kind of dedicated 2 blockers to kind of prevent Yamato from double attacking, now they don't have any protection inbuilt. So then what you do is, because Hody Jones costs 7, you have like 3 dons left, you put 3 dons onto Yamato, hopefully you're swinging for like 8k, and then you use Yamato's ability to give 2 rested dons onto Hody Jones to swing in for 10k for the win. This is an insane like finisher for this deck, because it just gets rid of blockers just like that. And not only that, there are cards like 200 million volts Amaru, which is a huge staple in OP-05 that lets you not only give one of your leader characters plus 3,000 power, if your life is at 1 or less, which, you know, as the game goes on, you will reach that, you can rest an opponent's character with a cost of 4. So if they have like, let's say 3 blockers and you have the full 10 dons, one of them is a 4 cost, you can play Hody Jones, rest 2, you can play Amaru, boost up your leader by 3,000 power, and rest that last blocker, put an extra Dawn onto Yamato. It's now an 9,000 power beater, which means your opponent needs at least 5k counter to defend against a double attack, and then you still can give 2 Rested Dawns, 2 Holy Jones for the win. This is an insanely aggressive deck and really powerful. And if you're a fan of Yamato, this is a deck that you should look at. There are many variations. This is the winners list for Tokyo CS. It does utilize the Om and Holy package, as well as, you know, having Kadatsu, some of the like even Shura, a little bit of a Sky Island mix, but you can lean more into like the pure green yellow Wano country package, because you have like the 5-cost Momonosuke for survivability. You're ready to kind of mess around with your triggers a little bit. Right now, Okiku is such a huge staple in this deck, and of course Onami, even though you can search for it with like the green Searcher Momonosuke, you can still trigger it and KO some of your opponent's characters. And of course you get access to Izo, also another way that you can rest one of your opponent's characters. Just a really solid deck. Even if you don't have Holy Jones and you still want to be aggressive, hey, and all is here as well. There are different variations of this deck. Hopefully in the video that I'm going to do for Yamato specifically, I'm going to go more in depth on the different builds that you can potentially make with Yamato, so look out for that. So Yamato, the biggest breakout star for OP-06 until people started playing Gekko Moria. So we're going to talk about Gekko Moria first. Even though Gekko Moria didn't actually really win like a championship event, it did win one Hachi tournament. They said it was a CS, but it wasn't like a live stream CS. Maybe it was like a huge tournament with more than 64 players. I think the top 4 were all Gekko Moria, and I believe in Indonesia, out of top 16, like 7 or 8 decks were Gekko Moria. Same with the Singapore Badai Card Fest. We had a lot of Gekko Moria cards, leaders actually making it into the top 16. So Gekko Moria, the next breakout star from OP-06, just a really powerful, solid leader. So first up, the ability, Dawn 1. When attacking, you may pay 2 Dawns, discard 1 card from your hand, put the top 2 cards of your deck into the trash, and play 1 Thriller Bark characters with a cost of 4 or less from the trash. So simple enough effect. The core of this deck relies on, first of all, Absalom just being able to return 2 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order, and then KO up to 1 character with cost of 2 or less. Just really powerful, especially when you're combining it with a lot of the cost reduction cards in like the marine side. So you tend to see like a combination of not only like Thriller Bark characters like Dr. Hawkback, Absalom, and Perona. You get a good mix of like Hina, Tashigi to reduce cost, also like events like Great Eruption, of course, also Ice Age. And yeah, the other core is Dr. Hawkback to get back cards that you have discarded, maybe more Absaloms, more 8-cost Gekko Moria, which we'll get to in a bit. And also Perona just being very versatile, being able to discard a card from your opponent's hand if they have 5 or more cards in your hand, or give something -3 cost. It's a very flexible card and you can use it at any time, and also +2k counter. It's really powerful stuff. And then you can see that a lot of I have 2 deck lists for Gekko Moria, which I'll show you guys. Good old Rebecca is still here, and Rob Lucci. And the thing that makes this kind of package work is the big bad himself, the finisher of the deck, which is none other than the super rare Gekko Moria. This, I would say, is the best super rare from OP-06. Hands down, nothing even comes remotely close to Gekko Moria. Being able to play a 1 cost 4 or less and up to 1 cost 2 or less character, 1 active and 1 rested, is just so good. First of all, if you play Gekko Moria and the 4-cost card that you took back is Rebecca, you can get something that's between 3 to 7 to the hand and play out something that's 3 or less, like a Tashigi or a Hina, to reduce something more. And then for the 2-cost slot, you could even get a brand new to continue searching. Or if you already have like cost reduction cards on the field, like for example, you can give something -3 with the 2 costs and then bring back like Absalom or even Rob Lucci as your 4-cost character. It's just ridiculous in the sense that you have so many options to remove your opponent's stuff with this, which is why people tend to opt to play a slightly different version of the Gekko Moria list, where they actually leverage using Sabo and more Borsalinos. Sabo being able to protect some of the characters that you have played by playing Sabo at the playing out maybe a 4-cost or 5-cost character like a Rebecca or Rob Lucci, and then protecting it with Sabo. makes it so that opposing Gekko Moria decks have a tougher time to KO some of your stuff. We have good old Gekko Moria. This list actually runs Isho, which actually I did include Isho. I think it would be really cool to have like a hand destruction type deck, and this would be a really good top end for that. I guess against decks that have a lot of cards in hand, you know, Whitebeard, maybe even Sakazuki decks, this will be a really good inclusion for that. If you are messing around with this, there's also the black event card that lets you discard a card from your opponent's hand. I believe it's well, the Dual Masters version is like Ghost Touch, but I think it's called Negative Hollow. Yeah, this is also a really, really good one. But you can see like there's a lot of similarity between the two deck lists. You have your Rebecca's, Rob Lucci's, and Gekko Moria. So if you are planning to play Gekko Moria in the future, make sure to get some of your staples in black because they are very, very important and very versatile, like Ice Age, Great Eruption, your Rob Lucci's, Rebecca's. Borsalino is always very good for black if you're a black player, and of course your Tashigis and your Hinas. These are very important cards for you to consider in OP-06 for the English release. But yeah, Gekko Moria was the next breakout star for the OP-06 metagame, and then we have two very great leaders from OP-06. So Perona actually won the Fukuoka Championship event. Great run. I have not watched the entire stream yet, but this list I actually played against Noah when we were testing. It combines two different archetypes, mainly the Marines, the Navy, and also the good old Doflamingo family. So Perona, ability wise, very versatile. You can choose to rest out one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less, or you can give one of your opponent's characters a -1 cost during this turn. So that alone has great versatility. You can -1 cost and then KO it. If it's a 5 cost rested characters, you can KO it with X-Drake. But being able to rest something that's 4 or less means that you can KO something with Vyuma, which has an on-play ability of KO one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 4 or less. And because you are in the Navy archetype, you can actually search out for the green X-Drake from OP-01. That's insane. It's like the synergistic. And yeah, you are leveraging these Navy characters alongside like Ryuma and also Gekko Moria to bring back Ryuma, to bring back you know, so many things like brand new to search. Same old thing, but it's a good top end. And then you are using in conjunction with Perona's ability to just KO a bunch of your opponent's stuff. Makes it so it's hard for them to have stuff or characters on the board itself. And then you combine it with the power of the Don Quixote Pirates itself, being able to just lock down your opponents with the 10 cost Doflamingo, still a great card in my opinion, and just, you know, delay them until you have a huge board of 10 cost Dofis or the 8 cost Gekko Morias, and then just go for game that way. Great thing is Virgo is searchable by both Brand New and also Baby 5 because he is both Navy and Don Quixote Pirates, which is super good because it's a 2k counter, and in certain situations against maybe opposing Perona, opposing Gekko Moria players, this character can be killed by battle if you have a Dawn on it. Very useful stuff. And then rounding it up with the event card, just a 0 cost plus 3000. But with the trigger ability of resting an opponent's character's cost of 4 or less, could come in handy if you're going for game. If you're lucky enough to rest like a Borsalino that can't be KO'd, that would be good as well. And the great thing about Perona is that you can rest Borsalino. You don't have to KO it because it can't be KO'd by effects, but you can always rest it and get out of the way. There is a different version of Perona that utilizes the 8 cost Eustace Kid, super rare from OP-01, just being absolutely annoying and being like a huge wall. Let me find the good old 8 cost Eustace Kid. There you go. Just, you know, making so that your opponent can only attack Eustace Kid, and then protecting it with the Don Quixote Rocinante, which you can sacrifice this blocker instead of the Eustace Kid to protect it, and that is really, really powerful, y'all. Perona, also a breakout star in OP-06, and we can't forget about the last one, which is none other than OP-06 Reiju. Now this is the deck list used by the winner of the Singapore's Bandai Card Fest event. You can see the deck list over there. I'll go into more detail into each individual deck and each individual card in a future video. But Reiju, just being able, blue and purple, being able to draw 1 when Dawn is returned back to the Dawn deck. It's really powerful, especially when you're combining it with the Reiju Super Rare. So essentially, the whole mechanic of the Vinsmoke family is to get all the base forms like Niji, Ichiji, and Reiju into your trash, and then in one turn just transforming them into their other counterparts like Niji, Reiju, and the 7-cost Ichiji, which I think this is the most important card. Being able to play an Ichiji, if you're going second and you have an Ichiji in your hand, you can play it Dawn -1, and if Vinsmoke Ichiji, the transform version, is in your trash, you can play it out on turn 2. 7 cost on turn 2 is really insane. And if not, if you can set up your board in such a way that all of your pieces are in the trash, bring down Vinsmoke Judge, Dawn -1, play everything out, transform it, and then go for game that way. It's a really cool deck, and if you're a fan of Vinsmokes, or if you're a fan of like Red Green Law, this is actually really similar to that, where you're trying to churn through your deck and set it up, and then you have like an insane explosive turn. I think the most important card of this Reiju deck is actually the Germa Kingdom stage card. Being a 1-cost stage card, if you can play it on turn 1, you're gravy, because it says activate main, you may discard 1 card, then rest the stage, and then you can search the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 card with Germa in its type, and add it to your hand, and the rest at the bottom of the deck. So it's a great searcher, but the important thing is that you can discard 1 card, and you can put all your transform pieces, because the transform pieces doesn't need to be from the hand, it can be from the trash as well. So that's a very important thing to take note of. So you are discarding all the transform versions like Reiju, Ichiji, and Niji into the trash with the Germa Kingdom stage card, and you can still search and then bring them out super easily. This is such a great deck. If you're a fan of Vinsmoke and if you're a fan of Reiju, you should definitely try this deck out. And those 4 leaders are the sort of like the breakout. The order that I mentioned them in is also the order of like popularity in which they came into like the metagame. I think like Yamato being number 1, Gekko Moria is still like super popular. Perona is picking up in popularity now, as well as Vinsmoke Reiju. But that's not the only one. We have, the good old Katakuri. Now with the inclusion of cards like Onami, cards like You're the One Who Should Disappear, and of course Reject. Like, it's insane. It's insane how strong Katakuri is, and I can't wait to do a dedicated Katakuri video, especially on this list. This list is from a Singaporean friend of mine that actually went 8-0 during the BC Bandai Card Fest in Singapore. Great run, and this is an insanely strong list, and there are a few tech choices in there, such as Braham that deals with Reiju, and Katakuri is just an insane deck. Not only Katakuri, Enel, Sakazuki, other decks also have improvements from OP-06, and they're all kind of like in a healthy metagame right now. And I'm gonna show you guys a chart that a Japanese person tweeted out on Twitter, and you can be the judge of whether you agree the ranking, but this is how it goes so far. So okay, essentially this OnePiece_Soba tweeted out this particular list saying that Sakazuki, Gekko Moria, and Enel are like kind of the big top dogs. Sakazuki is still an S. I don't really necessarily agree that Sakazuki is at S. I think there are better decks out there. I do think that at a certain level, like Gekko Moria, Enel, Yamato is definitely like on the same or on par with Sakazuki. But Sakazuki players always have like tools to deal with the metagame, and maybe that's why they put it as such. And you can see like the good spread of what we've talked about. Enel being really great with like the current improvements, not only from OP-06 but from the new ST13 cards, which we'll probably have another video talking about that in detail as well. But you can see the spread. Black, yellow, Luffy is actually one of the more powerful leaders right now in the current metagame because of his resiliency, being able to gain 2 life, and also like setting up all the mini brothers and bringing out the bigger versions of the brothers. That's one of the core strengths of this. Sabo and Ace is still making waves, and you can see the good old familiar favorites: Nami, Green Film Uta, Purple Luffy, Eustace Gate. In Japan maybe it's more popular. Red Purple Law as well is kind of slowly climbing up in popularity, and it's been making waves. Whitebeard, it's Whitebeard, and yeah, you can see it's a healthy spread. I believe it's really truly a healthy spread of different leaders in the meta game right now. Red not being that prominent at the top. Saka, Gekko Moria. I think black is probably like the strongest color now because of that super rare Gekko Moria, but still a really healthy spread of different decks across the metagame. And that's currently the OP-06.5 metagame right now. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a glimpse of the black-yellow Luffy deck, utilizing cards from SD13. Literally, you can just buy 2 copies of SD13, the ultimate deck, and then just make this deck. Yeah, I haven't tested out for myself. I haven't tried any of the leaders from SD13 just yet. There's just an example, but you have your Sabos, you have your Ace and Luffy, the small versions, and you're bringing out the Sabos. Of course, this Sabo is better, like the draw to discard 2 Sabo, and then the 5 cost 7000 power Rush Ace is really good, and you got Enhole as well. So that, I'm really excited to talk about this particular leader, but I feel like I need more practice with the deck before I can make a more in-depth explanation video. But there you go. That's the current state of the OP-06 6.5 metagame. I just wanted to talk about it. Well, this is a really quite a long video, but I think right now we're in a good spot. Like there are some decks that are better against others. Like I think Yamato, green yellow Yamato would do really well against something like a Gekko Moria or Sakazuki, just being super aggressive and just resting the blockers and going for game. But then there are other decks like Perona who can, you know, hold their own against the rest of the metagame as well. Reiju just being really fun to play, and of course the 3 big top dogs and my boy Katakuri. But yeah, just a little breakdown of each individual deck. I will go into more details on some of the leaders that I have more familiar with in future videos, but I just want to talk about the OP-06.5 metagame a little bit, keep you guys updated about what's been going on, and I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown of the leaders themselves. Really fun metagame, I would say. Those of you who are in OP-05 right now, I think OP-06 gonna be a really cool one for you guys. Anyway, I think I've rambled on enough, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really excited to see what happens when EB01 comes out and the 3 leaders get introduced into the metagame, how things might change. But for now, I think we're in a really good spot and things will change week by week depending on what people play. Anyway, that's it for me for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown of the OP-06/6.5 metagame, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.